Okay, I'm going to create my actions. So this is automated, but just so that I can make a little bit more sense of where I'm at any given time, I'm going to rename these from the generic letters that were originally used to generate the text. So this top one is just going to be called glyph. Don't forget we're using smart objects. If you don't know how to work with them, you'll have to watch the previous movie. Now I'm going to go inside the smart object and check to make sure everything is okay. And it is. I'll save this, go back up. All right, so now I'm ready to start my action. Go to Actions, and I want to create a new folder for the dot font. And so I'll close this up, and I'll do a new set. And I'll call this dot set. And I'm going to start a recording. So new recording here. And I'll go ahead and call this dot it record. Okay, so first thing I want to do is go inside in here. Then I want to select the letter. Then I want to stop the recording. I want to throw in a stop in here that'll essentially allow me to type in and change the letter B to something else, and then it'll pick up again when I hit the play. But in order to throw in a stop or a pause in here, I need to come over here and insert a stop. I'll type in new glyph. Hit OK. And that'll stop that. That's good. If I open these up in here, you can see that it's selecting the B. This one just selects the layer to go in. And from here on out, every time I go in, the B is going to show up. So you're going to have to keep an eye on which one you're selecting, because it's just this automatic. It selects the layer, but it quickly changes it to the letter B. So I'm not going to worry about it. Not that big of a deal. Okay, so presumably this stopped. And so now, while it stopped, I'm going to make the changes that I would make normally when the animation would stop. So in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and make this into the letter A. I want to go with a new letter. And I got the change going. Now I can start recording again. And this is in the process. I would be clicking on play so that it's automated, but now I want to record, so this is what's being automated. So now I'm going to do a Command S for save. That saves the changes within the Smart Object layer. And I'm going to do a Command W. That gets me out of the Smart Object layer. Shift Command S to save the JPEG file. I'm going to change this to a JPEG. And I'm going to change this to the letter A since that's what I'm working on. And everything looks good. It's saved in the dot folder. I'll go ahead and hit save. Okay, and I'll hit OK again. And then I'll stop the recording. Now, next time I use the shortcut here, the action, this save is going to save without a prompt. It's just going to save it, and it's going to replace the old letter A with a new letter. Presumably it would be the letter B. And so what I want to do is I want to click this, so that way I'll get a dialog box when it asks me. Okay, so now the other thing I want to do is I want to take a look at the folder. I want to get this set up in here. I'm going to make the window a little bit smaller. And so I did take out my other examples if they were in there. I can't remember if they were in that spot or not, but the only thing I had was in there, in that file in there. Okay, so here's what you want to do. You want to be able to see that folder. And that way, as you create the files, you'll be able to just essentially keep track of where you are. And so this is going to be view by name. So it'll descend. Okay, so now This dot, I don't want it to show up in front of my D, so to avoid that, I'm going to rename that, and I'm going to give it a an underscore in front of it. Okay, now before I do that, I should save it. So let me go ahead and save this. Okay, and now I'll give an underscore, and I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to reopen it. That way it opens up with the right name. Okay, so I've got my action in there. I'm ready to go. I've got the JPEG done, so I'll come over here to do it. I'll go ahead and double click on this. I want to make an edit on it. Actually, I'll do it this way. So I'll go to Action Options, and I'm going to give myself a function key, F1, and I'm going to do this with a command. Okay, I'm good to go. So I'll do an F1 with a command. It says new glyph. That stops it. Now it just happens that it's the letter B, which is the one I want. So I'll go ahead and play again. And in here, I'll just select the whole thing and type in a B. I'll put on my caps lock on my keyboard, and I'll go ahead and hit save. And I'll click on OK. And over here you can see it generated the B glyph. So here's what it looks like. Here's what this one looks like. Okay, so that one looks fine too. Come back over here, Command F1. Okay, new glyph. I can see the B was the last one I did. This one now becomes a C. And I hit the shift key by habit, but as long as my caps lock is on, I'm okay. So play that, and then hit the tab key, type in the letter C, and save again. Okay, Command F1. Okay, new glyph. We'll click on that. I want that to be a D, and play it again. Hit tab, and that's a D. And hit again, hit OK. So you can see I'm just slowly working my way down the line here, working my letters. This actually goes by fairly quick. It'll be done a lot sooner than you realize. And then when you consider what the old techniques were used for creating fonts, and even out of Illustrator, this is still going to streamline the process a lot faster. So you got to decide what glyphs you want to use. In this case, because I am using Helvetica, I can use upper and lower case. They look fine, and it'll go by fairly quickly. So I'll go ahead and finish these off camera, and I will finish all the numbers and the upper and lower case letters, and some punctuation as well. But in the next movie, what we'll do is we'll be going into Illustrator, and we'll be taking these JPEG files, and we'll be generating the glyphs with them. And that process also will go fairly fast because we'll be able to automate that in Illustrator. The only issue here right now is the working with FontForge. We will have to bring in the letters one at a time, and that can't be avoided. But again, considering that we're already doing automated actions, it won't take as long as you think it will. All right, well, we'll catch you in the next movie.